Kuzazampo and welcome to another segment of Expressions. This is your producer Kezawangmo, and today we have Mr. Sukbir Bishwa, who creates life on empty canvases. His paintings tell stories of where his eyes has been. Stay tuned for more.
When I look at, what I love doing, then I can say, okay, I have an artist inside me who loves to paint, because I'm motivated, inspired by the nature, the surroundings, and amazing architecture that we have, which is absolutely, different or unique from the entire world. So if you really want to know my definition of myself, then I would put myself as a painter.
That's amazing. I think I'm pretty sure a person can be defined in many ways, from what they do, what they love, and I think you just defining yourself as a painter is a very modest answer, but today we are talking about what you do, the art that you have displayed here, and I think painter is an amazing definition, one of the many things that you are, sir. And yes, you said that you are inspired by the nature, by the art, the traditions that we have here, the paintings. It's amazing. And how long have you been doing this, sir?
Okay, as far as I remember, I started, I think, by the age of 8, 9, when I started going to school. And I have an uncle. He used to kind of do small drawings to design some small things in the village, okay? Because he is a goldsmith, and smithery-wise, he was absolutely, again, interesting person. And he used to design his own small jewelries. So for that, he needed certain kind of drawings to be done. And when I saw him doing those drawings, I felt it was, some ways to express ourselves, through that kind of drawing or certain mediums, So I can say I began by the age of 9. Then after that, of course, when I went to junior high school, from the primary level in my own village, we used to get a lot of materials from the government. Of course, still they supply the materials, books and colors, some sketch pads, then brushes. Then that was, I think by then I must have been about 13 years of age. And fortunately, in the school there, we used to have one period once in a week, okay, for the children to know or learn about, how to sketch and then how to color. Although it was not very professional kind, they were simpler. And then, of course, we got introduced to color and then brushes and then pads and all those things. Then, of course, the competition amongst children themselves were the most interesting part. There were students who loved doing portraits or figures, and there were people who loved doing landscapes, flowers, and all those things, And in my case, of course, I was doing everything most probably. Like I could do portrait, I could do flowers, I could do landscapes. So that way, when I started drawing and painting, even the school used to hold, kind of competition towards the end of every semester. And I was the one who bagged most of the, awards, small awards of books and all that. That's how, the journey into the painting world began, of course.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
And what do you usually focus on at the moment when you paint? Did you figure it out when you started it off in school? Did you figure out what you were more drawn to, the kind of paintings, the kind of art that you were drawn to?
Yes. Okay, I can narrate one story in this regard, okay. I clearly remember. I loved books, I loved reading. Because of that habit of mine, most probably when the teacher saw me, very much interested in books, they put me or kept me as a librarian. And in that small tiny library in the hostel, I got to see a lot of books, like illustrated encyclopedias, which carried a lot of, good colored pictures. And then there was one particular painting called Paintings in England. Okay, 13th, 14th century book, the paintings at least. when I went through that book, I happened to see one particular painting. I think that one painting made me a painter, true painter, most probably. That's what I can say. Because when I saw that painting picture,
Yeah.
it totally, reminded me of the landscapes in the southern part of Bhutan and the way of life we lived there. And I think I can even remember how I painted one particular painting called Sportsman in a Landscape by Thomas Gainsborough, and kind of kept it in the class. A lot of students, I think it was just like a very big exhibition. Lot of children were coming into the class and then admiring the painting and trying to find out who did that. So that's how, you see, we got that motivated. Then of course there were times when teachers also organized competition one. Then they even went international. At one time we were allowed to participate in that. And then many of us from Bhutan, got awarded. Some of us got certificates, some of us got medals. So that's how we were motivated, inspired.
And more drawn to the kind
Yes,
of painting that you do
yes.
right now.
And now, of course, when I'm to talk about, what kind of subjects matters I choose, then it's mostly landscapes. And of course, at times I change my, subjects, I can say. Why I say subjects is because there are some simple subjects like Chorten, prayer flags, monks. I found out people loved minimalistic paintings too. So I started doing, small paintings with oil pastels on handmade paper. It worked fantastic. People loved it, and then now I think those kind of paintings may be all over the world, So it varies also. But mostly, of course, landscapes. And then architecture. Bhutanese architecture, typical ones, because they are very different.
It's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Enigmatic.
It's breathtaking, isn't it? The architecture that we have here.
Yes. Because I can still, I think further in this regard, I think I can still remember one German photographer who traveled to Bhutan years back, and then he had some black and white pictures, put into his book, travel book most probably, or an account coming to Bhutan. In that, he has shown, of course, Gasajong. And then underneath that, he has written, Leonardo da Vinci's of Himalayas, The way he described the people who painted the houses, around here, he was simply flabbergasted, most probably, amazed.
Yeah.
And then he went on to describe Bhutanese, as Leonardo da Vinci's of Himalayas,
Oh, wow.
That's one amazing thing that I read, And I always was, of course, fascinated by the paintings on the walls. I still own a small thanka, which I purchased in 1985 or 6 most probably. It costed me about 700 nultrum, and I used to draw only about 750 nultrum as my monthly salary, and I still I bought it, and I do have, and because of the color combination that Bhutanese traditional painters use, it's again another interesting way to paint. That's what I feel. Because of the coloring schemes, I was so drawn. I just blindly purchased and didn't know how I lived for the coming month,
Yeah, I think the journey that you took, to
Yeah.
where you have come right now, it's so amazing. It was the simple things that really inspired you to become who you are right now. That's amazing. And, I think when it comes to artists, what do you feel when you paint? When do you paint? What kind of feelings do you get before you think that you'd want to paint something? Is there like a emotional muse or something like that as an artist?
It's all to do with energy, and the inspiration is another factor most probably. But see, I was so excited to paint all the time. That's one thing which that's one trait which I have still. When it comes to painting, I jump like a baby, most probably, I can say.
Yeah.
So what I can remember still is there were times when I used to get up at 4 o'clock and jump out of bed and then start painting, you know. I used to think, okay, today I'll do this many paintings. Because then I had become little commercial too, because I needed to survive. However, it was not a duty. It was just, the energy was like boundless. I could jump out of bed, go into the studio of my own at home, and start painting. And then when it comes to expression side, I just love doing what I saw around. I wanted to put it on the paper canvas and then showcase it to the world, or the joy that I derive from, doing those small paintings or big paintings always made me feel like I was sharing it, with the world. But we can express many things through paintings, which we are not very bold enough at the moment, but we do have young generations who do that, okay? And then when I look at their paintings, they are again another level painters, not like traditional painters like us, We had our own style of expressing things, simple matters of life, put on canvas and shown it to the people around. But now the youngsters are going pop, jazz, and all that, okay? Which is absolutely fantastic,
Yes, the times are changing.
Yeah. We are
So
changing.
when did you fully start to invest yourself into painting, and when did you start making a living out of it?
As soon as I got employed, okay, for a year or two, I just was not very organized person, because to get organized to paint takes a little while, and then even the mindset itself, okay. So most probably by 1986, of course I was painting all the time, but I had never thought of selling them. Then back then, of course, still we have this handicraft emporium. Then when I was working, I just felt like trying, because I saw a lot of visitors coming by. So I started painting small things on envelopes, like first day covers, or even other materials, small things. I painted on them and then asked the handicraft emporium manager to keep those paintings for me to sell. Initially he said, okay, I don't think so, because we are still, of course, so much used to Thangka paintings. When it came to modern paintings, he said, okay, I don't think I can sell this kind of paintings. But somehow, he created a space where I could keep my paintings. And then he said, okay, as and when they sell, I'll give you the money, he said. And I agreed. And then I kept those small paintings there. I found out it attracted people, because I had painted landscapes of Bhutan, zongs, lakangs, and all those things. They really loved it. And I was making about maybe 400-500 or 700 those days. Used to be a lot of money. So it was big money for people who had just begun the life, But money matter or factor was not in my head all the time. I always wanted to paint. So when I began to sell and then save little bit of money, especially after getting married, I was more settled. Then I decided to paint, more larger canvases, and then thought of, kind of collecting them, then exhibiting them. Then by most probably 1996, I exhibited my first exhibition in a gallery called VSO Gallery. Those days Britishers used to come here to be of some help. They were called Voluntary Service Overseas, and they had a space whereby they could, invite the painters. They came up with this idea, and first person to exhibit was Namge Reddy, we call him. He is again an architect and a painter too. He did the exhibition. Then after that I did, And my exhibition was runaway success, I can say. Why I can say runaway success is because a lot of expats used to be around, and then the prices that I have quoted were, I think even the children could afford it, through their pocket money.
Yeah.
It really blew my inspiration or mind away. Then, then that zeal for, doing more began. By 21st century,
Yeah.
I was, even invited to exhibit in foreign countries. Then locally, all the hoteliers who came up with big hotels started buying my paintings. And because of all those factors, I had to, in fact, quit my job. I opened a gallery by 2011, then moved to this bigger place by 2013, and then invited all the local painters to exhibit their works. Not exhibit, showcase to the visitors, and then I curate kind of this place. And we were doing fantastic until 20, of course.
Until the pandemic hit.
Yeah. By 20th March, we were very afraid to come closer to the visitors too. Then we decided to, of course, close. Now, of course, it is not totally closed. I come here every day, then kind of look at my paintings. I love being here.
Okay. And do you also have other painters coming in to showcase their work in your studio at the moment?
At the moment, no. But whoever needs certain kind of, financial assistance, and if they can give me their paintings for a very, very, very reasonable rate, I always try to buy and help them.
And you're talking about the exhibition and selling your paintings to the boutiques market over here. Have you also tried to export your paintings to other countries?
Yeah, no. I think it is mostly the visitors who came by our gallery.
And you have had quite a journey. What do you think is the difference between the situation of painters back then when you started off and right now?
Oh, it's not a happy story I can narrate, but we are trying to make it happier, of course. Okay.
Yes.
Why I say this is, I still look at some of our own friends who are incapable of, finding a market for their own works. Thankfully, we came up with, especially I can talk about Vast, Azakarma is doing one wonderful thing, okay. Anybody can go there and then feel at home. And then even he always tries to kind of find works for the painters. And these painters do amazing works through his guidance. Okay. Likewise, I have a gallery here, and I invite all the painters. I beg them, request them, or even order at times, because they are very reluctant most of the time, because I don't know if I can put painters to be shy people. They may not be, of course. But when it comes to, marketing products, they are not very good, many of them. We help them. When they showcase their work here in the gallery, when it starts selling, and then when I give them that good news, wow, they again burst with another, energy, and do, more paintings. That way we are doing okay at the moment, but still there are some, teething problems with some painters, most probably, when it comes to market side. But we are always there to help each other. VAST is the most important organization where a lot of painters grew up,
I think we have always been talking about the problems, but we have never thought of what could be the solution, to solve all of the problems that the artists face in Bhutan. So what do you think Bhutan could, do to nurture this amazing artists that we have in Bhutan and encourage them to do what they've been doing?
Yeah. Okay, passion is something which can be converted into a lucrative business also, because now the entire world is giving so much importance. Of course, whatever painters do are, very important things also, of course, when it comes to expression wise, either or keeping certain kind of records, you know. There are some paintings we sell for billions of dollars maybe. So that way, when it comes to our own painters and marketing their products, I think painters themselves also need to learn. We need to train ourselves, okay, or seek help, you know. Those who know, we can talk about, you know, why some people cannot sail and some people can sail without any problem.
Okay, so it's not always about the external factors that is limiting the growth of this, but it's also about the internal.
Yes,
the
yes,
itself,
yes, yes.
yeah.
Our own psychology
Mm.
or our own psyche, which is absolutely, you know, unhelpful at times. It stunts us, you know. Although we are painting so much, it's our passion, you know, which can be very helpful to our own growth also.
Yes.
Okay, but if we are incapable of taking it up to the world, you know, the arena, then we may lag, and then we may even get demotivated and wither and wilt and then vanish, you know. Which should not happen. Which should not happen. But it should not also always be the money matter which should be motivating us. Passion is always passion. It has got nothing to do with whether we sell or not, okay. So they should continue. They should continue. But I'm certain they never give up, okay. I'm certain they never give up. It's there for the joy of their soul, you know. So I think we should not get demotivated, okay. That's what, when you are passionate about doing something.
What are the future plans now? Like, I think this pandemic has hit us all very badly, and we can see that it has also affected Sir Studio as well, and also some other painters that has been associated with Sir Studio and Sir. So what future plans do you have from here on? Where do you see the studio and yourself as a painter going from here on?
Okay. Oh my God, I do have a lot of plans, of course, which I cannot implement, okay. I haven't yet painted the largest painting. That may be one thing, okay. But when it comes to my own friends, painters, to showcase their paintings either here or in my own gallery, which I might again come up with somewhere, which I'm already thinking of. That's what is in my head at the moment.
Okay, that's amazing. So another studio that might come up.
Yes,
and
yes,
standing
of
on
course.
one of the biggest canvases. It sounds really amazing. And do you think the government and the concerned agencies have been supportive enough for the artists here in Yanttra?
Yeah, I only have a wish. I wish there was an institute whereby, you know, people didn't have to go out to learn paintings or pursue their artistic, you know, endeavors. That's only my wish. Otherwise, the support that we got from or are getting from government is, I don't know if I can compare it with any other, you know, countries. Maybe developed countries have different ways, but in our own simple and small ways, government is always there. Of course, maybe they cannot always afford it, but they have been or is always there. Otherwise, why would they supply art materials to the schools, you know? Although they cannot do things in a big way, but they had been there. And there is Joriskusum, okay, where students get free education. So I don't see any flaws in the government side. We can always appreciate, we can always be grateful to. Then maybe someday when we are, you know, well-to-do enough, can I say, economically sound, maybe it can happen, you know, it can happen. The institute. So the future is always bright.
I see all these paintings that you have done. It's such an amazing work of art that you have, created here in this space of yours. So, with all of these, what were some of the challenges that you have faced during this whole journey of being a painter?
Okay. There were moments when I came back home with tears in my eyes. I can put it that way also, because I was taking my paintings to show it to people. A young man, When you are not successful, you feel unhappy, right? Because even those factors matter to you a lot. Okay, we want to be big, we want to be affluent, we want to be famous, and when it does not happen, the expectations are unfulfilled, we feel unhappy. So that's why I'm saying I have come back home with tears in my eyes. When I took my paintings to sell, they said, "Oh my God, this kind of paintings no one will buy." It hurts. But when I look back those moments, now I can laugh at it. How stupidly I was handling those small situations. And through those experiences, most probably we can guide people. Definitely.
I think those were the times that has helped you learn to be more happier
grow,
now.
grow, right? And now when I said, okay, how stupid I must have been to feel sorry for myself. When I say that, then I think those must have been the challenges. Okay, but challenges are very essential for the growth. Only trouble is many of us tend to give up, which we should not. Okay, which we should not.
What would you like to say to all of the artists who are still struggling, who are passionate, but who's on the verge of leaving it? So what would you like to say to all of these painters, being a painter yourself who has come so far right now? What would you like to say to all of these people before we end the segment?
There may be many sides of struggle, like earning a living, or painting a better painting, or dancing better, or playing music better, But when we learn, then it does not become a struggle. It becomes, just a joyride. It's just a mindset, okay? Struggle thing. But learning will always help us. Guidance will always help us. And if I were to say anything to the painters, I always tell this: paint in millions. Be passionate about what we do.
And with this, we have come to an end of another segment of Expressions. Thank you for joining us. I will see you next week with another new segment only on BBS Radio. Goodbye.